Let's go to Robert who's calling us from Seattle, who wants to set some boundaries. It sounds like with himself. So Robert, that's kind of an easy meeting to pull together, right? You're talking to yourself.
I would think so, but it's not working.
It's really bad, Robert, when you say you want to have a meeting with yourself and the guy doesn't show up. You're sitting there, where's Robert, right? That's a different problem.
Yeah. I appreciate the subject. I actually listened to your video online, and long-time follower. I have like 30 of your tapes from 1990. I went to Safe People and Boundaries in New Jersey. I lived in New York for 30 years.
Cool.
And my sister was in clinic with you and John in Southern California for 3 months. And
wow.
We're PKs. Yeah.
How about your PKs? Okay. There was, where was it? We used to do a regular event up there. Was it Hawthorne? Where was that? Somewhere up there.
Yeah, Hawthorne
anyway,
Christian. That's where I saw you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
then
so
I bought a subscription to your thing for the year for my son. He's newly married.
Oh, cool.
And he had some problems. Yeah. So
The boundaries.me.
I've suffered with anxiety my entire life. I'm ADD and I'm a creative and photographer. And for some reason, I worked through it and self-employed right now, and everything's gone away, and I'm not having a problem with it. It's really amazing. I'm really at peace about it.
Stop. I want everybody to hear this. You put yourself on a growth path. You said you've been working all this stuff for a while, and you had all these ADD problems.
40 years.
And now you're self-employed, which by definition, if somebody's ADD and distractible, is a recipe for a disaster. But you're self-employed and managing and self-regulating and making it. Okay, I just got to get everybody out there to start clapping. Way to go.
For 40 years, I've been doing that. Yeah.
Way to go. So tell me what the problem is now.
Well, personal life, some failed marriages, but I finally find, after doing my work, I found the right woman. So things are great. So I'm trying to quit smoking.
Victory.
A real great victory. I'm so grateful. I just thank God every day for this woman.
Okay,
I just cry.
Don't lose your thought here, Robert, because I want to hear your question. But I just want people to hear this, because so many times people that stuck in these patterns, and they just feel like this can't be changed. Well, a pattern is a pattern until you get the right things brought into the circle. And it's going to have to do with some support and some new energies sticking their noses in there and saying some different things and correcting and encouraging and all that. And I bet if we looked at your history, we'd know who those people and who those voices have been, but also some new information and some new intelligence and some new wisdom to learn how to deal with those. And you've done it. And I want everybody else to hear this can be done. We see it all the time. So thank you for that testimony. And what is your question?
Well, part of ADD, you self-medicate. So off and on, I've smoked over the years, and I can get it, I quit for 5 years at a time, and I can get it down. Like before I met my wife, she's a recovering alcoholic. So that was an attraction because she had a problem and it wasn't mine. And it's so great the way she works her program. It was an attraction, actually. And so she smokes, and I got it down to 2 cigarettes, and then I met her. And so I can't seem to stop. I'll smoke
whoa. Not 2 at one time.
No, 2 cigarettes a day, and then I'll get it back up to like 6, and I can't just walk away from it. I'll smoke 2 drags and throw it away and then go back to my day. But the more I'm at home, the more the attraction's there, and I can't figure it out. And then because I work at home with my photography, I would take breaks by wanting to go on my treadmill that I bought. And now I don't want to do it. And it's I know it's healthy for me from sitting all day, and I want to go do it. And I can't get in the routine of stopping one and taking on a better addiction,
Yeah.
So how do I change those 2 things? I observe it and I think, oh, am I anxious right now? No, I'm not anxious. This is just a freaking habit that I picked up. And I'm how do I stop it? I know it's a really hard one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it is a habit, but it's more than a habit. It's an addiction, right? And so there's,
right.
habits have behavioral cycles to them, and there are things that we get. It's hardwired. Once we establish a habit, this is sort of what we do. If you followed yourself throughout a day, you'd be in a lot of habit patterns that are normal, and that's how we operate in life. That's a good thing. But
Right.
to break one, means that we've got to interrupt that chain, right, with some very specific ways. And it takes, I don't know who came up with the phrase it takes 21 days to break a habit. That's not true. Research has shown that it's way longer than that, and probably more in the range of 60 to 80 days probably. But it's not only a habit though, it's an addiction. So there's a chemical part to this, Robert. That nicotine addiction has a lot of stuff that goes with it. And so I think, have you ever gotten any I mean, what have you tried besides just, I'm going to cut back? What have you tried?
I was able to cold turkey it. I realized that, like, at the end of the day, I want to drink and I'll smoke like three right then. So then I stopped drinking, and that cuts way back. I can't take any of the drugs like Chantix or anything because I have a seizure disorder. That would give me really
Right.
bad nightmares. I've talked to my doctor about that. So it's
Yeah.
just been
Okay.
cold turkey.
All right. So here's what I want you to do. And cold turkey, it sounds like for you, you're one of those people that can't do the gradiated cutback thing, right?
Right.
Because you got down to 2, and then you're up to 6, and then you're up to 40, right? And
No,
so,
I've never done
so
that. I can't do that. I can't do half a pack a day. I'm not that guy.
okay,
I
well,
can't do that.
well,
It just grosses me out, and like I feel like crap. So it's like
okay, well,
I just,
whatever it
I'm,
is you're doing,
yeah,
it wasn't
yeah,
2. So here's
right,
what I want you to do. I want you to kind of go through a handful of days, probably a week or so, and I want you to write down what the triggers are. It sounds like maybe when your wife smokes, for example, or
yeah,
I don't know if there are, there can be emotional triggers, there can be stress triggers or whatever. And I want you to write down what those are, so you start to see some patterns. And when you see a pattern, you're going to see a cluster of certain triggers. And then I
right,
want you to put down a strategy of, it's called if then, and it goes like this: if I see that, whatever that trigger is, then, and you're going to take a step to do something different. So I want you to identify the trigger, and then I want you to do an if then step with that. Okay, if I hear, you know, uh, if I hear ice rattling in a tumbler, because it makes me think of having a drink. If I hear that noise, then I'm going to go get on the treadmill for 5 minutes, and I want you to bring this treadmill thing into it if you can. But I want you to break it
right.
down to. I want you to break the treadmill down to something that you know that you will do. All right. I don't care if it's 30 seconds. I don't care if it's a
Well, that was
minute.
my plan. It was like 5 minutes. It's like I said, 5 minutes instead of going out in the garden and have a smoke. That's what I wanted to do. That was my plan. But then I all got
Okay.
interrupted with the COVID because I was like, okay,
Well,
I've worked on the computer for an
then
hour, and the ADD person work on the computer,
then
forget it. I want to kill myself. So,
if you're an ADD and you can stay on the computer an hour, you've solved the ADD thing. So, okay, if I trust me with this, if 5 minutes is too much, I want you to get down to the right amount, because what you're going to
okay,
find is once you start it, then you're establishing a new pattern. Okay, then I want you to keep a chart, and I want you to see, how many you get in a row. Okay, and then also with
right,
that, I want you to bring a support person into it, that when that trigger happens, you've made a covenant with them. Okay, when this trigger happens, I'm going to text you or I'm going to call you, and you're going to bring them in there. But I want you to get the triggers, give a different response to the triggers, even if they are tiny. Okay, and then give
yeah,
yourself some sort of reward there. And I want you to pray at that moment and ask God to help give you the strength So we're going to bring relationship into this, and we're going to bring some structure into this. And then I want you to put on your pack of cigarettes, okay?
Yeah.
Something that reminds you of where this is heading, okay? So put a picture of your wife or your kids, looking at your coffin all alone.
Ay.
So every time that you do this, you're reminding yourself you're playing the movie forward, and you can't have one without, see, when you have one, you're just thinking of the positive part of this. When you have one, I want you to begin to see the reality of, I'm signing up for leaving my family alone. Okay.
Well, I think about that every day.
Well,
Ay.
but you got to get it visual, and you got to experience it in the moment. Okay. So you're going to put all these things
how do I
into the
get past?
moment. What?
Right. So
How what?
when it comes to relationship and I pick somebody to help me, how do I get past the shame?
You find somebody that's not shamey. Find a recovered smoker.
Okay.
And tell
Yeah.
them, I'm really, really ashamed of this. And you know what? It's nothing to be ashamed
I
of.
want to
It's
cry
hard.
right now.
Yeah,
I want to cry right now.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of shame about this.
Yeah, there is. I just
And
feel like I failed at a lot of stuff, and I finally got past it. And this is one thing I can't
Hey.
get past. It's like,
you have gotten past so many really, really difficult things, but this is a hard one, and it can be done. I can promise you it can be done. You don't feel shame about it. A lot of people have had this. A lot of people have had this. And so try the things I said, and then I want you
all right.
to call me back. Okay. But you can do this. But once you do it, don't go back, because it's going to get easier as time goes on. It only
No, I
takes
know.
one to
I've
be
been
right
there.
back on the treadmill.
I've been there.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
I've been there. I appreciate
Thank you
this
for
channel,
calling.
what you're doing.
Okay.
Keep it up.
Hey, well, we're going to keep doing it as long as there's an audience. And I ought to just,